Wonderful paradox, I think, in the Modi 11 years that he's been at the helm of affairs. On the one hand, obviously, he promised a lot. He said it's going to be a break from the past. It's going to be completely different from everything else that you've seen. And obviously, people in a democracy have a right to hold him to what he said. And as is the case when the road hits the rubber hits the road.
Yeah,
There is a mismatch between expectations and reality, and people are well within their right to say that, look, you talked a big game, but ultimately the reality is you've fallen short of it, as is always the case. That's one fascinating thing for me. The other fascinating thing for me is the biggest gambles that Mr. Modi has undertaken in terms of economic reforms, economic policy reforms. So the land reforms that he mooted in 2015, or the farm law reforms that he mooted in 2021. Labor, frankly, I don't even think he's addressed it wholeheartedly. Why has he not been able to address these, or the fact that some of those he's addressed, but he's had to retreat in the face of opposition? Why is that?
Because he wants to win elections. It's as simple as that. And he's blessed in a way, because all these reforms were actually, he would have thought these are the easiest reforms to undertake. The reason was that they weren't in the BJP manifesto. They were in the Congress and opposition manifesto. Yeah. So he thought, here I come along, and we didn't promise it, but we are delivering what the opposition promised. So what could go wrong? Little did he know. So the tragedy, Zakka, is that these are the kind of reforms that would actually catapult us to a middle income economy in 15, 20 years. And it's a tragedy of this country. So, as I said, the greatest achievement was vaccinating 1 billion people twice over within a year. I think the saddest day was when the 3 farm laws were taken back, because you just don't realize the damage you've done, not just to the farmers, but to the country. I mean, 44% of our active labor force of 600 million is involved in agriculture, a sector that contributes only 14.5 to 14% of the GDP. In the West, it's 2%. Even in some growing economies, not more than 3.5%, 4%. You have 300 million Indians. When you talk of reforms, banking reforms, bankruptcy law, 5 million, 10 million it affects. Here it was affecting 80% of all Indian households, directly or indirectly. And you bring in these reforms, and then you take them back. The opposition calls them black laws. We have 3,500 crores of economic loss every day for a year, and nobody is compensated. Nothing happens. This is what actually Banana Republic is. So when you hold, the government to account, I'm sorry, Modi cannot escape the blame. Yes, he can say, well, the opposition is with me in this.